was something where maybe we could find common ground on a bill that you actually defended in court in a state, which Director Patel seemed open to, and that was looking at could we at least raise the age to 21 of the purchase of an assault weapon federally while states look at banning these weapons overall, given these little babies that this gun is used to kill. So we can talk about it later, but that was my question, and you don't want to answer it.
No, it's pending litigation, Senator.
Okay, but your views on this is not pending litigation. So I want to get to the independence of the Justice Department. At your nomination hearing, I specifically asked you to provide assurance to every member of this committee that the Justice Department will only follow the facts and the law, and the White House will play no role in the cases investigated or brought. You stated in response, this was you, politics will not play a part in my decisions. And you also said the Justice Department must be independent and must act independently. Do you believe that you have upheld that commitment?
I absolutely have upheld that commitment, Senator. I pledged that I would end the weaponization also of the Justice Department, and that America would once again have a one-tier system of justice for all. And that is what we are doing in this country.
We saw this with the president directing an investigation prosecution of Chris Krebs, the former head of cybersecurity. Lisa, do you believe that you have upheld that commitment?
I absolutely have upheld that commitment, Senator. I pledged that I would end the weaponization also of the Justice Department, and that America would once again have a one-tier system of justice for all. And that is what we are doing in this country.
There's a moment in some hearings where the room goes quiet, not because voices are raised, but because an answer never comes. That silence tells you more than a speech ever could. This was one of those moments, not about ideology, not about party, but about whether the Justice Department answers to law or to pressure. It happened during a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing, when questions moved from sympathy for violence victims to something more uncomfortable. Who gives orders, and who's expected to follow them? Only after that tension was set did the names enter the frame: Senator Amy Klobuchar and Attorney General nominee Pam Bondi. This is the moment that matters. Senator Klobuchar referenced a September 2025 Truth Social post by former President Trump, where he publicly instructed Pam Bondi to prosecute specific individuals, including political opponents and a sitting member of the committee. Klobuchar asked, plainly, whether Bondi viewed that post as a directive. Bondi's response: President Trump is the most transparent president in American history. He hasn't said anything he hasn't said for years. That answer didn't address the question. And that's the point. For ordinary Americans, this isn't about liking or disliking Donald Trump. It's about whether public prosecutors are expected to treat public social media posts as marching orders. The concern isn't transparency.
He told me, in the chair you are sitting in right now, that assault weapon bans could prevent future attacks. I talked to him about better background checks, about red flag laws, and then that perhaps we could find common ground on who's a conservative Republican who made the decision that that the evidence was not there to prosecute Comey. What made you change your opinion?
I am not going to discuss personnel decisions.
Okay. Is it true that the career prosecutors in the Eastern District of Virginia found that there was insufficient evidence to bring criminal charges against former Director Comey?
I am not going to discuss pending cases because Comey was indicted in the Eastern District of Virginia by, I may point out, one of the most liberal grand juries in the country.
Okay, let's go on to other firings or terminations. Last week, the Justice Department fired at least 2 senior attorneys in the Eastern District of Virginia, including the office's national security chief, Michael Benary. It is reported that his firing came following criticism from a right-wing social media commentator who wrote, "One can only assume he was part of the internal resistance in the Comey indictment." In fact, he did not work on the Comey case. Instead, he was working on pursuing justice for service members killed in Afghanistan. How does firing a 20-year national security prosecutor enhance public safety?
Senator Klobuchar, I'm not going to discuss personnel decisions, but the personnel issue that I'm having right now is that all of my agents, all of my lawyers are working. My agents are on the street working without a paycheck because your party voted to shut down the federal government.
Unfortunately, the House isn't even back here. They're 18 days off the job to even meet with us to come up with a resolution that we would like to discuss with them about saving people's health care. Let's move on to the Antitrust Division. Did you authorize your Chief of Staff to overrule top officials in the Antitrust Division to settle the challenge to the Hewlett-Packard Enterprises Juniper Networks merger?
Senator Gail Slater runs my antitrust unit, and she is doing an excellent job on many, many cases. As you know, that is a pending case.
Okay.
In any merger, just to clarify, in any merger, Senator, there is a deal struck with our office and with the corporations involved, but then that also goes to a court to certify in any merger. In any merger, it's a multi-step process.
Okay, I
and
will
that
ask some
process
further
is still pending,
questions
Senator
about
Klobuchar.
antitrust. I just had one other thing. DOJ can now take the extraordinary step of
Time's
subpoenaing
expired.
journalists. Has the Justice Department issued any subpoenas to journalists under the updated guidance?
Time is expired.
Okay, I'll ask
You-
those.
This hearing wasn't defined by anger or theatrics. It was defined by what wasn't answered. The unresolved question isn't about Pam Bondi as a person. It's about the system she may soon oversee. If prosecutors can't clearly say where political influence ends and legal judgment begins, then the line itself starts to fade. And once that line is gone, no one gets to choose when it matters again.